I never thought I would be making this video, but here it is. It is a Tyranitar guide to play him in the jungle and the lane. I owe this Pokemon a massive apology. He belongs in a zoo. This thing is absolutely, unbelievably, insanely strong. If you're versing people who don't know how to verse a Tyranitar, you are just going to destroy them. And especially at these Rayquaza fights, this Pokemon does a ridiculous amount of work. An absolutely insane amount of work. You can dive into them. We're going to talk through the combos. I still think Ancient Power and Dark Pulse is absolutely the moveset to go. But this Pokemon is an animal, and if you use him right, you're going to reap the rewards in every single game. The damage numbers are crazy, and you're just overall going to have a very good time. Now, post-nerf, I think this Pokemon's still really, really strong. There's two options when you're using Tyranitar. Take him into the jungle or take him into the lane. I'm going to talk through the jungle first in the post-nerf. The build is usually going to be a weakness policy, a focus ban, and if you take him into the jungle, don't run the attack weight, run a rapid-fire scarf, because you want those basics to do insanely strong damage when you want them to. Now, when you're approaching Ttar in the jungle, your job is to become a Tyranitar. Notice there I'm not over pushing. It's like if my Scyther's focused on the farm, so am I. I'm not going to push for a score because we had our opportunity and we don't have a single second to waste when we're using this Pokemon. Straight back onto the farming train. Get those buffs and then arrive at that middle bees on time. You get those middle bees because all you're trying to do here is get your level 9. Only engage a fight if you reckon you're looking pretty good. Here I thought we're looking pretty good because I know it's a 3v2 and I saw the positioning of the Sizzle. So here we can see, bang, we go on, we get a kill, and I'm not looking to execute, I'm looking to get in my 30 score and get out of there. I want that score experience, and then I want to try and get that level 9 because as soon as I get the level 9, things are going to look really, really good. So you should be getting that level 9 at around the 7-minute mark if you're using them in the jungle. You've got to play this smart. You're sacrificing a little bit of the early game because Pupitar gank honestly is pretty pathetic, but once you get Tyranitar, have a look. I'm so comfortable just diving that deep because I know I'm going to be able to kill them. So we get the double kill, and then the Zeraora's there. That Zeraora is not going to kill me. He's absolutely not going to kill me. It's a team spamming retreat, that's totally fine. I'm focusing on objectives, we've forced them right back, and here we're just looking to secure that first objective, and then we run up to that top Regieleki. So we get the secure luckily on the Regi Ice. Surely the Zeraora didn't come in for the steal, and then we look to go up. We look to get some farm, get that Unite move back, and then we are diving right back into the action. The combo you want to do is hold down that Ancient Power button and land on a group of enemies. Make sure you release that button when you hit a group of enemies, because what that's going to do is it's going to pop the ability of what Ancient Power can truly do. It allows you to pierce their defenses, so you're attacking them with your basics with absolutely zero consideration for how bulky they are. You go through shields, you go through their stats. He's an absolute freak. Now I'm going to rewind there a little bit. This is a big mistake. I've overcommitted and I shouldn't have assumed that the team was going to come in and fight with me. Now you might think, oh, that's not too much of a big deal, but it absolutely is. Giving away that much catch-up experience to the enemies allows them to come back into the game. So I'm not going to be shy to admit when I've made a bad play. That was absolutely a bad play for me. Now I want to talk through, even after the nerf, we saw that Ancient Power and Dark Pulse got a nerf. I still think this is the moveset, guys. I really, really like Dark Pulse because you can move it, you can use it while you are moving with the character. If you use Stone Edge, you're static. I do not like being static in this game. That means you're going to be able to get kited. If you are using Dark Pulse while you're on the run, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, I just think that Ancient Power is just a little bit too good to give up. Its mobility, you're able to dive people. However, I think you need to use X speed though, because that extra second cooldown does make a difference. So you are sacrificing the ability to use a full heal, but I don't really think it's a problem. So I think the nerf was, sure, I think it's needed, especially seeing, I picked it up a little bit and played it pre-nerf for a couple of days. And I kind of wish I played a little bit more of it because I think he's really, really, really strong. So when you're using this Pokemon in the jungle, you're not looking to just be rotating through your buffs all the time. You're just looking at be it objectives and be it fights and do a good job, but know when you need to back out. Right here, I gave up on the objective because I knew if I died, they get more value out of killing me than getting the Regieleki there. So you've got to know when to back out. Now this puts us right at this Rayquaza fight. This Tyranitar is an absolute animal. He's like an ape on the loose. It's absolutely ridiculous, guys. You go in with a Unite move, you get the combo of Ancient Power and Dark Pulses happening. You land that Ancient Power, you dive on them and you run on them and you make sure that you smash AoE damage with the Ancient Power. That just allows everything to just proc through super well. So the macro with this character is get ahead, stay ahead, and just participate in fight after fight. You're going to absolutely destroy the enemy team. Now, I know I'm totally going back on my word here, but this is just a Tyranitar apology video. This Pokemon's better than I gave it credit for. You can use it in the lane, you can stack. So here the only difference with this build is I'm using Attack Weight instead of Rapid Fire Scuff. Now look at the secured bite. You can just get in there, bite the farm, get your stack in, and try and get away. Rock Polish gives you mobility. I'm in a bit of a 2v1 here, which is no problem, that's fine. But look at the value you get as a laner, right? You're Larvitar, you're not really online until level 9. So you're looking for that early investment. Right, that bite secure just allowed me to get the farm and put it in the net, right? Give it a big old stack. And really, it's just, I think it's really solid. So long as you've got some kind of a backup, so you know, if the jungle comes down, you're not going to get smashed too hard. But I think if you play a little bit smart with this Pokemon, don't look to overcommit. Just look to get the basics right. You're not looking to fight until you're level 9. And that's one advantage if you're versing a Tyranitar. You know that. You know you can bully them with a Pupitar. Right? I'm going in there, I'm throwing for a stack because I know as soon as I become a Tyranitar, things are going to be very different in this game. Now, I want to talk through the skills with this Pokemon because level 5 to level 9, to be honest, he's just awkward to use until you get him level 9. When he's level 9, he's an absolute animal. So you want to try and make, there's no point using Tyranitar and becoming a Tyranitar 5 minutes into the game. That's not a good strategy. That's actually really bad. Don't just think that you can invest late game and do well. You need to get your stacks in, and you need to be a Tyranitar before the 6-minute mark, right? Otherwise, you're pathetic. You're just way too behind. And playing from behind against good players, you're just not gonna from very behind. You're not gonna do well. Now let's talk through this combo here. You run on with Ancient Power. What Ancient Power does, think of it as like a little earthquake. When you land on when you release it on the enemies, it stuns them and it procs the ability to ignore their defenses and hit through their shields. That is the pure power of Tyranitar. You dive in there, you initiate every single fight you want to have with Ancient Power. Now this is a little bit of a skill because you need to know how long can I hold the button for, how far away are they. You need to make a judgment, but it's like a dive in, it's a little AoE earthquake, and that initiates everything. Now when you use your Dark Pulse, this is where it gets good because you want to initiate with your Ancient Power, and then you get an 8-second kind of window to hit them with that big buff damage, right? If you land your Dark Pulse on an enemy in that time, you're going to be extending that. It's like, imagine it's like a timer reset. So it's been going for 5 seconds, and then you land the Dark Pulse, it resets that 8-second window. So if you get this going, you go in with the Ancient Power, then you land the Dark Pulse 5 seconds later, and then you go back in with Ancient Power. You can spend the entire fight just absolutely ripping through their defenses and ripping through their shields and getting all that true damage and that piercing damage. So what does the combo look like? It looks like go in with Ancient Power, get that stun off, and then you can see you've got a second Ancient Power to launch off. That's like another, think of it as like a mini Dark Pulse. It's another skill that you can launch off to slow them down a little bit. So you go in with that Ancient Power, and then you can see you've got that second mini Ancient Power to throw off. So you've got Ancient Power, Shockwave, and then you've got the Dark Pulse with the follow-up Ancient Power, which is like a mini Dark Pulse, and you just repeat the process over and over again. But every time you're using Ancient Power, you should be landing on a group of them. Not to mention the shields, they're a little bit of flex. I think they're a little bit of a bonus. It just helps with the sustain. But also with Tyranitar, his passive ability makes him an absolute mammoth. It increases your special defense and defense by 65%. Now it does have a cooldown, so pay attention to it in the bottom corner of the screen. but this Pokemon is just ridiculous when it gets going. Now, another mistake by me here, I can see our Greninja and our Cinderace are off doing the Regieleki, which I actually don't disagree with, because look at what the Greninja does. He breaks that second tier, allowing the crazy pressure for the Regieleki to go and hit their base, right? So it puts the enemies under ridiculous pressure, because he can then back cap that 100, and even if they're getting the Rayquaza, they're going to be able to do so much work. And if you're a Ttar with a bit of support, like with the Eldegoss, you can hold the fort. Right? You're going to actually do it. Like, that was a proper 5v, almost, I'm going to say 5v3, because we didn't have our Gren or our Cinderace helping in that fight, and we held them off. We held them off. So even though I think they've made a little bit of a weird play at the end there, and the enemy actually does end up getting the Rayquaza, you've got to look for what you can do with the Pokemon, right? Remember that you've got piercing through shield, so you can stop the Rayquaza score. So what I'm looking for here is, okay, I think we're probably evenish on score. I need to land that Ancient Power and get that piercing damage, so it breaks the Rayquaza shield when they're scoring. This is one of the best things about Tyranitar, is that ability to do that, right? And just using that Dark Pulse on the run. So really, really strong Pokemon. Really, really strong. Got a lot of benefits going for it. We end up winning the game, and I think it's thanks to that play from the Cinderace and the Gren. Arguable, but insane damage overall.